Hello friends, I welcome you in the video lecture on design of pressure vessel part 8. Let us see the first content, classification of pressure vessel as per IS code, autofrettage, methods of autofrettage and compound cylinder. So let us first see the definition of unfired pressure vessel. So unfired pressure vessels are the pressure vessels which are used to carry, store or receive the steam, gases or liquids at pressure greater than atmospheric pressure. So the pressure of these fluids is increased in some other vessels and it is just brought into this unfired pressure vessel. So actually the pressure of this fluid will not be increased in this unfired pressure vessel. It is just used to store or carry the pressurized fluids. Then the classification of pressure vessels. It is classified into three types: class 1, class 2 and class 3. So let us look at each type. So first is class 1 pressure vessel. So class 1 pressure vessel is used to store the lethal and toxic substances which are hazardous for the human being. Also, they are used when the operating temperature is less than minus 20 degrees Celsius. The welded joints used are double butt joint or and single butt joint. The welded joint in the class 1 pressure vessels are fully radiographed. So radiography is a non-destructive testing method by which we can find out the defects in the weld joint, and as this is used to store the toxic substances, so it is necessary to complete radiographed this welded joint. Class 2 pressure vessels are those which do not come under class 1 and class 3 categories. The maximum shell thickness of this class 2 pressure vessel is limited to 38 mm. Weld joint for the class 2 pressure vessels are same with as compared as that of class 1 pressure vessel, and class 2 pressure vessels are spot radiographed. That means at the only some particular locations only the weld joints are radiographed. Class 3 pressure vessels are relatively used for light duties. These pressure vessels are not recommended when the operating temperature is less than 0 degree Celsius or more than 250 degree Celsius. Maximum pressure is limited to 17.5 kg force per centimeter square and shell thickness is limited to 16 mm. Usually made up of carbon and low alloy steels. And very important point, these class 3 pressure vessels are not radiographed, so welded joints are not tested for any defect, as these are used for only light duties. Next concept is autofrettage, and this is very important concept. First, we'll see the definition. Autofrettage is a process of pre-stressing the cylinder before using it in service. So before using pressure vessel for storing the pressurized fluid, this pre-stressing is carried out. And the ultimate aim of pre-stressing is to develop the compressive stress in the cylinder or pressure vessel. Now, how this pre-stressing is carried out and how the compressive stress developed in the cylinder, that we have to see in the further part. It is used in case of high pressure cylinders and gun barrels, where the high pressure capacity is required. In the pre-stressing process, as I said, the residual compressive stress is developed in the cylinder. Now we know that before putting this pressure vessel into service, that is before applying the internal pressure, it has already compressive stress which is negative. And we know that when the internal pressure is applied, the cylinder is subjected to tangential stress which is of positive value. So tangential stress, it is a positive stress. So before applying the internal pressure, it has compressive stress. So when we start applying the internal pressure, first of all, this compressive stress, which is a residual stress, it will start decreasing. If we again increase the pressure, this compressive stress will become zero, and on further increase of the pressure, finally it becomes tensile, that is finally it becomes positive. So these are the steps of stress variation with respect to pressure. When the internal pressure was zero, there was a residual compressive stress because of the pre-stressing. When we started increasing the pressure, this compressive stress start decreasing, it becomes 0. On further increasing the internal pressure, it becomes positive, that is it becomes tensile nature. So in this way the stress varies with respect to pressure variation in case of autofrettage is carried out. We are going to discuss with some example in the last part of this lecture. You will better understand this concept in the last part of lecture. Methods of autofrettage. So as I said, the autofrettage is nothing but the pre-stressing, and the ultimate aim of pre-stressing is to develop the residual compressive stress in the cylinder. And this residual compressive stress is developed by three methods. First is the compound cylinder, in which the one cylindrical jacket is kept over the pressure vessel, and by that means we can induce the residual compressive stress in the inside cylinder. Two concentric cylinders are used. Out of that, the outer cylinder develops compressive stress on into inside cylinder. Second one is the overloading cylinder. In this overloading cylinder, the cylinder is loaded in such a way that the inner surface is subjected to plastic deformation, outer surface is subjected to elastic deformation. So on the removal of load, the inner surface will not shrink, but the outer surface is subjected to elastic deformation. It will shrink, and thus it will develop the compressive stress in the cylinder. And in the third method, the wire under tension is closely wound on the cylinder, which also develop the compressive stress in the cylinder. So these are the three methods by which we can develop the residual compressive stress in the cylinder. Autofrettage is carried out to increase the pressure capacity of the cylinder. This point is very important. This is the main objective of autofrettage, to increase the pressure capacity of cylinder. Also, because of the compressive stress, the crack presents in the cylinder are also get automatically closed, which further increase the endurance strength of the cylinder. So this is about the methods of autofrettage and function of autofrettage or use of autofrettage. Next is the compound cylinder. Now this compound cylinder is nothing but the first method of autofrettage. Now exactly what happens in the compound cylinder, because of which the cylinder is subjected to compressive stress, so that we have to discuss. So this is the cylinder which is to be pre-stressed, whose, let us assume the outer diameter of this cylinder is 50 mm, and this is the jacket that we have to place over this cylinder so that the cylinder is subjected to compressive stress. Let us assume its internal diameter is 48 mm. Now in this condition, with this dimension, we cannot put this jacket over this cylinder because the inner diameter of this jacket is smaller than the outer diameter of this cylinder. So for that purpose we need to heat this jacket. If we heat this jacket, it will expand. As it get expanded, its internal diameter will increase. Now in this heating position, we have to put this jacket onto this cylinder. Now as it get cools, this jacket will shrink. It will start contracting and it will exert the compressive stress on the inner cylinder, and this is nothing but the pre-stressing, that is the autofrettage. So simply concept of autofrettage or pre-stressing is that using compound cylinder, this jacket we have to mount over the cylinder by heating. As this cylinder gets heated, its inner diameter will increase and we can easily mount this jacket over this cylinder. As this jacket starts cooling, it starts shrinking and exerting the compressive stress on the inside cylinder, which is nothing but the pre-stressing, that is nothing but the autofrettage. Now during this compound cylinder method, as we have seen, the inner diameter of this jacket is smaller than the outer diameter of this cylinder. But when this compound cylinder is formed, then this inner diameter of jacket is subjected to deformation, and that deformation can be shown here. So this delta deformation shows the deformation of this inner diameter of the jacket. Actually its diameter get increased so that it can be placed over this cylinder. So you can see here at least 2 mm increase in the diameter is required so that it can be mounted over the cylinder. So that deformation is shown over here. And also during contraction of this jacket, it exerts the pressure on the inner cylinder. That pressure is called as shrinkage pressure. So that shrinkage pressure can be shown separately on the jacket and on the cylinder. So this arrows shows the shrinkage pressure applied by jacket on the cylinder, and this arrows shows the reaction, equal and opposite reaction as that of cylinder. So this is a reaction from the cylinder on this jacket. So magnitude is same but the direction is opposite. Now in the next part we have to find out how to find out this deformation of this jacket and how to get the value of this shrinkage pressure which is applied on the cylinder during contraction. So the shrinkage pressure P can be calculated from the following equation. And to find out the shrinkage pressure P, we have to assume that this jacket is subjected to internal pressure. This jacket is subjected to internal pressure P with dimension D3 and D2. So the tangential stress will develop in this jacket. And already we have seen the tangential stress equation if the cylinder is subjected to internal pressure. That equation is sigma T is equal to P, which is nothing but the shrinkage pressure, but here you can consider it as an internal pressure for this jacket. D3 and D2 are the diameters of this jacket. Next, the deformation of jacket delta can be calculated using equation. Remember that the jacket is subjected to deformation after compound cylinder is formed. So that deformation is calculated using this equation PD2 upon E into bracket twice D2 square into bracket D3 square minus D1 square upon into bracket D3 square minus D2 square into bracket D2 square minus D1 square. So using this equation you can find out the deformation of jacket, because without deformation this jacket cannot be placed over this cylinder, and that can be calculated using this equation. Many times in the problems you will be asked to find out the diameter of jacket before compound cylinder is formed. So simply we have to subtract this delta from the outer diameter of cylinder. So we can get it. The internal diameter of jacket before pre-stressing can be calculated. So this internal diameter of jacket we have to calculate using this T2 is the outer diameter of this cylinder minus deformation. So it gives us the internal diameter of jacket before pre-stressing. In this diagram I have shown this outer diameter of cylinder and inner diameter of jacket same D2, but it is after compound cylinder is formed. After compound cylinder is formed, the outer diameter of cylinder and inner diameter of jacket will become approximately same. But before pre-stressing, this inner diameter is obviously smaller than the outer diameter of this cylinder, and this is nothing but the inner diameter of jacket before pre-stressing. So on this formulas, there will be some numericals that we'll solve in the next lecture. So let us switch to the very important part, that can autofrettage help to increase the pressure capacity of cylinder. So let us go through this some simple example. So we have to consider here two cases. First, cylinder without autofrettage and cylinder with autofrettage. So without autofrettage, this is the cylinder. When the internal pressure is zero, there will not be any tangential stress in this cylinder because this is not subjected to any pre-stressing, because it is a without autofrettage. Now consider the example with autofrettage. Now we know that in the autofrettage the pre-stressing is carried out, and in the pre-stressing the residual compressive stress develop in the cylinder. Let us assume its value minus 20 megapascal. So this is a compound cylinder we have seen, by which we can apply the compressive stress on the inner cylinder. So when the internal pressure is zero, in this case there is a stress equal to this residual compressive stress, and it is given by sigma c is equal to minus 20 megapascal. Minus sign indicates that it is a compressive stress. So that means In this compound cylinder and on this inner cylinder particularly, there is a residual compressive stress. That means at inner, when the inside pressure is zero, then also there is some stress. Now we'll check what happens when we increase the pressure in this without autofrettage cylinder. The allowable tensile stress for this inside cylinder and this cylinder without autofrettage is same because its material and dimensions are same. So allowable tensile stress value for both the cylinder is same. It is 120 megapascal. Now let's increase the pressure in the cylinder. Now when the pressure increases, this tangential stress will also increase. Let us assume that it increases by 40 megapascal. Again increase the pressure by 10 value. Again tangential stress will increase by 40, so it becomes 80. Again increase the internal pressure by 10, it becomes 30. Now the tangential stress will become increased by 40 and it becomes finally equal to 120 megapascal. Now can we increase here pressure beyond this 30 megapascal? No, because this tangential stress has reached the value of allowable tensile stress. We cannot stress this cylinder beyond this allowable tensile stress. So this 30 megapascal is nothing but the pressure capacity of this cylinder without autofrettage. We cannot increase this stress beyond this allowable tensile stress. So this 30 megapascal internal pressure is the pressure capacity of this cylinder. Now similarly, we will increase the internal pressure for the cylinder with autofrettage. Again here we'll increase the internal pressure by 10 megapascal. Now we know that for every 10 megapascal the tangential stress will increase by 40 megapascal. But already here there is a stress, residual stress having magnitude minus 20. So plus 40 minus 20 will get the stress of 20 megapascal. So this is nothing but the tangential stress of magnitude 20 megapascal for internal pressure of 10. Again we'll increase the internal pressure by 10, it becomes 20. Tangential stress will increase by again 40, it becomes 60 here. Again we'll increase the internal pressure by 10. Here tangential stress will increase by 40, it becomes 100 megapascal. Now if you look at this pressure, inside pressure when the without autofrettage was 30, stress was 120. Here with autofrettage internal pressure is 30 but stress is 100. That means if you compare this allowable stress and this tangential stress, we have some scope to increase the internal pressure here. So if you increase the pressure by 5, the internal pressure is 35 megapascal, and for that the tangential stress would be 120 megapascal. Now here we cannot increase the pressure further because it has reached, the tangential stress has reached the value of allowable tensile stress, and thus we can say that this internal pressure 35 megapascal is the pressure capacity of this compound cylinder, that is with cylinder with autofrettage. So if you look at these values, the cylinder without autofrettage having the pressure capacity of 30 megapascal, but the pressure capacity of cylinder with autofrettage is 35 megapascal. That means the pressure capacity has increased, and in this way we can say that the autofrettage definitely help to increase the pressure capacity of cylinder. So this is the explanation of the use of autofrettage in increasing the pressure capacity of cylinder. So thanks for watching the video. If you have any query related to this video lecture, you can mention in the comment sections.